All right, everyone, welcome to First Wednesday for July 2020. My name is Kristen King. I am a life coach and digital strategist, and I will be helping out behind the scenes and a little bit on stage tonight as well. We're going to go through some quick housekeeping before we start. As a reminder, everyone is muted by default, but you are free to come off mute to answer questions, ask questions, share examples, say hi, whatever you need. We are going to have one demonstration tonight, so I'm going to ask that you please not come off mute in the middle of that because it would be kind of distracting. But otherwise, if you have something to share, please come off mute. It'll jump you up to the top of our list so we know to call on you. You can also, if you're, actually, let me just tell you, if you're not sure how to come off mute, if you put your mouse all the way down at the bottom of your screen, a little control bar comes up and there's a microphone in the lower left corner, and if you click that, it will take you off mute, and if you click it again, it puts you back on mute. Same way, right next to it there's a camera, and turn your camera on and off, so you're free to do that as needed. And then if you go just slightly to the right of that, there's a couple different options. One of them says participants. If you click on participants, you'll see that whole participant list, which is always fun if you can't see everyone on the screen. There's also at the bottom of that a hand raise icon. So if you're trying to get our attention and we're not seeing you because you're not on camera and you're going like this, but we don't know that you're there, you can also use that hand raise icon to let us know that you would like to jump in. We're going to use the chat tonight a bunch, so feel free to type in there. If you need tech support, you can send a private message to me, no problem. And I think that's all our housekeeping. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend and mentor, Gretchen, to take us into tonight's content.
Well, thank you, Kristen. Isn't Kristen great? I really appreciate you and all that you do for the group. Thank you for being our moderator and all-around great community manager. I'm Gretchen Hydo, Master Coach. Welcome to First Wednesdays, July of 2020. Can you believe it's July of 2020? What the what? It went fast and so slow, all at the same time this year. I know that last month we had scheduled to do this all about the enrollment call. And what do you say to your clients, your potential clients, when you get them on the phone for the first time? But last month we ended up pausing so that we could talk about some of the really important issues that were going on and are going on socially with Black Lives Matter. And I'm glad that we got the opportunity to do that. So we're going to do what we were going to do in June tonight. Kimberly was so nice that she sent me over some information over a month ago, so we're going to play with that. But before we get started, I just wanted to check in and take the temperature of the group and hear about how you're doing, what you might be struggling with, and hear if there's anything that I can do to serve you. So if you have something that's on your mind, unmute, and let's just do a quick check-in. How are y'all doing?
I will go. Hello, my name is Asuka Naito. I know some of you, Michael is waving his hand. I'm actually doing pretty well. I'm hopeful of entering our new second half. There's a lot going on in terms of like future projects. Am I seeing actual money coming in? That's a question mark, but I'm being really hopeful because I think it's all about creating that space to invite something new. So I'm always happy to be here, Gretchen. I think you always have like really great ways of like segueing ourselves to ask for more. Personally, I'm a little challenged. My boyfriend is from the UK, so he has been stuck there. We're hoping that by Friday of this week, he's going to submit to the Singaporean government for his re-entry on a work visa. And if he gets accepted, he can then go from UK to Singapore, quarantine for 14 days, and then come back. But I'm finding that a lot of people across the globe are finding their partners separated. I just spoke with somebody in Brazil. Her husband is on the Royal Caribbean cruise, and they've been stuck in India for the last couple of months, much longer than his usual 10-week stint. So she is not able to celebrate her 3-year-old daughter's birthday with him, and they just don't know when he's going to be able to come back to Brazil. So I understand that this is still a very current issue for many people. Hopefully everybody here is fine and not compromised, but keeping like some, self-compassion and understanding that I may not be able to operate at 100%, maybe it's a 70%, 60%, sometimes at 30%, because of what's going on and what continues to go on, whether it's COVID or the systemic injustice or all the political issues that we're seeing. I think just being kind and understand that ourselves and others may be struggling a little bit more, and just checking in to see how everybody's doing has been really helpful.
Yeah, thank you for that. And as Oscar said, with everything that's going on, people aren't at their best. They're still just really not. Some people are doing really well, but the world as a whole, we're kind of all over the place. And the US especially, we're sort of upside down and on our heads. So your clients right now need you more than ever. Your potential clients right now need you more than ever. It is not a time to go small and inward. It is a time to really show up with your bright light and serve. And when you don't feel like you have it in you, because even me, even all the years I've been coaching, there's some days I don't feel like I have it. I don't feel like I have it in me. I have to remind myself that that's just not true. Of course I have it, because everything can be self-generated, and we can do it with a spiritual presence as well. We're never alone, and we've got a community. So remember that and reach out to one another. I hope that I'm making the Coaching for Coaches community really safe for you to share. I'm trying to show up and really, share what's going on with me as well, just so that you can see I'm a human and not just like some figurehead in the front of the group. I hate that sort of thing. And for me, with COVID, I've been feeling really confined. And I've noticed where I want to sort of act out. I don't like being told what to do or what I can't do. I hate that. I want to rebel. I won't run around without a mask because that's just not okay, but I want to, and that's the truth. And so I think that it's really important for you to notice whatever your own emotion is, and know that your clients are experiencing something similar. So it's okay for us to be humans in this thing called coaching, and to be going through things at the same time that our clients are going through things. And so as long as we can keep that light in that space, we really have the opportunity to serve people in a deeper way. And as you're working with your own coach, or within our Coaching for Coaches community, or whatever other community you might be a part of, remember to be sharing the things that are stuck in your own throat, your own places of discomfort, sadness, frustration, upheaval, because we can't keep it in. If we keep it in, we're not empty to serve. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that check-in. Does anyone else want to check in? Anyone have any wins between the last time I saw you? I know that a lot of you actually did have wins, because you have been emailing me about your great wins with clients, the money that you have coming in. Anyone want to share that?
I'll share.
Okay, good.
I think that, well, it obviously was very slow for the 3 months, whatever, March, April, May, but then come June, it's like a lot of people started to unfreeze and were, I don't know, just ready to do something about whatever was on their back burner. And so I had a great win. I had 5 new clients and made over $7,000 just out of the blue.
Congratulations.
And after 3 months of, nothing, because everyone just really shut down. So,
yeah,
but I love helping them. I mean, and the other thing I will say though, is I also let these, I know we're supposed to stick to our 55-minute thing, but in this time, so much of the beginning is just talking, emptying out, so that they can even get to the point where, so I am kind of giving them that extra, call it 20 minutes or whatever, so that they feel safe enough, and not, everybody's like saving their dollars. And so they, anyway, I want them to feel like they can empty out, and not like that's part of their business coaching time used up, because we need to get there in order to, I don't know, set the stage. So that's all.
Well, Dana, congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that. Collectively, then I think this group since last month has made about $50,000 just from the people that I know, and with what you're saying too, Dana. That's not bad. That's not bad. And I'm sure that there's more, just people who haven't told me. But what nice wins. I also love hearing about all of the no's that you've received, because the no's are just as important as the yes. The no's, when clients say, no, not now, maybe later. Good. It means you're trying it out. So kudos to all of you for that. And then for those of you who have been sending me questions about your elevator pitch and having something really good and crystal clear down, I'm glad that you're thinking about that too. It's important. And just so you know, for the Build Your Business group that we're going to have in July, we're going to be focusing on something that's so interesting. We're going to take a look at attachment styles, because we all have our own personal attachment style. And that can get in the way of the way we serve and sell to our clients and the way that we coach our clients. It also can be a real way that people have transference. So that's something as well that I think will be really helpful to those of you who are in that group. And if you'd like to join that group, reach out to me or to Kristen and we can tell you all about it. And I'm also giving you a written template pitch to use for potential clients. It's already done. You can just fill in your own little thing. So I think that that's going to be helpful too, because so many of you have reached out and said like, well, what should it say? So you'll get it then as well. But tonight what we're going to do, I want to talk to you because so many people have been asking, what the heck do you do with these potential clients? It feels really awkward to move from getting information about them to going into the sale. And remember, the whole thing that I focus on is serving rather than selling. If you're thinking about a potential client as your mortgage money or your car payment, you already do not deserve to have them. And that's just the truth. We really need to be serving our clients in a way that makes them excited and motivated and where they're wanting something more. So coaching actually is one of the easier professions because we're not their consultant. We're not here to know all of their answers or to solve their problems. We're here to listen. That's 90% of the job, is listening with a sharp ear to what our client wants to help them create possibility. And when we do that, they come up with their own answers, and that's always more empowering than the answer we might hand to somebody out of fear that we're not, quote unquote, doing enough as a coach. Your client has to show up for the session ready to work. So what happens in a call with a potential client is you want to make sure that you have paved the way for the call. And you want to do this with all of your clients, whether they're potential clients, current clients, anyone you're going to have a conversation with. And so one of the things that I like to do is I always send a pre-letter to someone that I'm going to be having a conversation with. And it's for a few reasons. The first is I want to make sure that they're serious about coaching. If they can't even answer a few questions, then they're probably going to skip out on the call anyway, and it's not really worth my time. But for clients who they can even just send me a few sentences, that's all that I need. And the questions that I'm looking at that I typically send to a potential client is something along the lines of, what would you like to achieve in the next 3 to 6 months? You know, what are those goals that you're really hoping for? The next question after that is, what will it mean to you to have that? Because coaching's all about possibility and motivation. I spend a lot of time with my potential clients in those two areas. After I find out, you know, what it would mean to them, the next question's about what's been hard. What's been hard? What's been hard? What's gotten in the way of you having that? And everyone usually knows what it is for them. You know, well, I'm really stuck. Well, you know, I'm busy. I don't know how to make it happen. It feels like a pipe dream, whatever it is for them. And then lastly, if in a year from now, you still have this problem and you still have not done it, how are you going to feel? And this is where the client then usually commits, like, that cannot happen. It cannot be that nothing has happened. Something else too in this intro call is I'm not coaching. I'm not solving. I'm not coaching. I'm listening. I'm opening up possibility. I'm maybe giving a few gems, but it is so much about that client and what it is that they need and how I really can serve them. I'm also listening with my ears of, can I serve them? You know, am I a good fit for this person? Would I like to work with them? Not every person we have an intro call with should be our client. You know, I know that we've all got bills to pay, but in your heart, you know which ones are your clients and which ones, they're okay, but not necessarily for you. Leave them for somebody else. There are so many coaches. Look at how many are just on this call. The other piece of this as well is that when you are listening in this conversation, you want to hear deeper. You know, you really want to hear deeper. Clients are going to say things, you're going to pick up on their values, you're going to pick up on their beliefs, and you want to slow them down too, that it's not as if this is going to be your only conversation. So what I'm going to demonstrate with Kimberly, it's going to be quick. Usually I give an hour for the intro call. so that I can really get to know somebody. And I want to learn as much as I can. So with Kimberly, like I said, we're going to do it fast just because we only have about 40 minutes left here. But one of the things I'm going to want you to notice later in the conversation is that Kimberly's going to probably ask me some questions about what it would be like to work with me. And at that point, it's important for you as the coach to not get overly excited. Like, they're asking about money. They're going to pay me. Hallelujah. Yay. We want to slow it down. And what that looks like is you want to say something along the lines of, I'm so glad that we're there. Let's slow things down for a minute. I have a few more questions for you. And I'll teach you what those questions are. But the reason for that is it takes it back from the client interviewing you to you interviewing the client. And you truly all should be interviewing the client. Are they a good fit for you? Will working with this person bring you joy? Did the things that they talked about spark for you? Not just for them. You're going to spend some time with your clients. I spend 6 months to a year with my clients. Do I want to dedicate that amount of time with this person? And so that's where the slowdown, it's for you and it's for them. And then what happens is they tell you all the reasons why they're ready or not. And when a client isn't ready, that's good. I tell them, you need to be 100% ready. Don't do it until you are. Don't do it until you are. And I really mean that. At the end, there's 2 ways that you can go about it. If you feel like it's the right time to talk about price and they've asked, you can. And or you can offer an actual coaching session where you can say, you know, I'm glad that you're asking. Why don't we coach first? This was just an intro call to see if we're a good fit, but why don't we coach first? I'm going to give you an hour and a half of my time. My gift to you, bring the biggest thing that you want to work on, and let's see what we can do. And the reason for that is if you think about it, you would not, hopefully, or maybe you would, but most people would not go out and just buy a car without test driving it. It's the same thing with coaching. I want the people that I work with to feel really comfortable working with me. I don't want them to feel like on that very first call, did I make a mistake? I don't want them to regret it when they're writing the check or transferring the money to work with me. I want them to feel like this is a beginning of a possibility for them to something that's good. And so that's why I gift that. And I know it sounds like a lot of time you'll hear people say like, well, why am I doing intro calls for free? And why am I doing these other calls for free? You can think of it as free or you can think of it as planting seeds. It's really up to you. I know that I used to really think of it as, why am I doing it for free? And my business showed it. You know, I've always been a good business person, but it was not as prosperous as it is today since I've learned how to truly serve my clients. And so if you take that on and you come at this from a place of service, what happens is your client can feel it. They don't feel like they're going to hurt your feelings if they tell you, oh no, I can't work with you. It's more just like a grown-up decision between the both of you. And for me, a lot of times people can't work with me right this minute, but they come back in 3 months, they come back in 6 months, a year from now. And there's been seeds that are planted. So we're going to kind of walk through that. The other thing for you to know about this is that it's okay if you get a no. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're terrible at this. It doesn't mean that you should quit coaching. It doesn't mean any of those things. What I want you to do is to go back to your coach or to come to me and let's run the game film on it. Let's see what the missing opportunity was, what you could have done differently. And sometimes it's not even about you needing to do anything differently. It's about that the other person wasn't ready. And that's okay. You only want to work with people who are ready to go. If they're not ready to go, on to the next one. There's always somebody else to serve. So any questions about that before Kimberly and I demo? Anybody?
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Mackenzie. Sorry, I couldn't see you on the screen.
That's okay. So when I'm talking with someone and I find out their problem and then I invite them to a conversation to work on that problem, you just go straight into the coaching session like you wouldn't have an intro? Or like, what does that process look like for you?
I would always have the intro. So I would always have the intro because what I'm listening for are the possible. Oh, do you mean you've already identified it somewhere else? You've already had some sort of a conversation with them?
Yeah, like, you know, I've seen like the script that you recommended as far as like inviting someone to a conversation. If I know their pain point, maybe they're stuck in a job, and then I'm like, okay, I invite you to a conversation to work on that and to find direction, then would that initial conversation still be the intro and not talking about that topic?
It really just depends on you and how it goes. You know, some clients need 1 or 2 touch points before they want to make a commitment. The intro is really good because it's all about letting them empty out and for you to get to know them. From there, you can offer that, 55 or 90-minute coaching session. However, if you already know the person and you've got some background and they've said yes that they do want to have just a coaching conversation, go for it. It's no problem. With that one though, at the end, when they want to talk about price and they want to talk about packages, I would invite them to another conversation. I would ask them, what do they want to commit to, have them try some things, and then in the next conversation, talk about it more. So the 2 touch points really works well for people.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Kimberly. Oh, Michael, go ahead.
Just a quick question and maybe a footnote to the previous question.
Yeah.
So I have a prospect tomorrow, head of a communications division for a organ donation organization. Really cool. I'm super excited. And it's sort of, I feel like this call is going to be a general. It's not like, oh, she's more like, I really want to learn about what you're doing. And she said, I think you'd be great for this organization. She didn't say whether I'd be good as as an internal coach or anything really related to coaching, but it feels like it's really going down that same path of me explaining kind of the aforementioned, all what you just talked about. So is it kind of the same? Is it the same?
It is the same. So with her, what you want to find out is, what is the company's biggest struggles? What do they need? What do they need? What have they tried? What's working for them? What's not working for them? What would a win be? How many people? How long are they thinking? Have they had a coach before? So it's information gathering. Make sense? Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Good thumbs up. All right. Kimberly, ready to unmute? Okay, let's go for it. Thank you so much. So Kimberly, this is going to be a short one just because of the time. And we're going to do kind of a very mini intro session. But coaches, what I want you to hear is how I'm not coaching. Okay, and Kimberly and I are probably only going to get to a couple of those questions before there's some prompts there for her when I ask her what kind of questions does she have for me for her to ask so that you can see what it sounds like when I slow it down. But we're going to do this. And Kimberly was so good. She did her homework and everything. So Kimberly, thank you for all that you put into doing this and for being so flexible last time. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Gretchen. It's great to be with you. I'm looking forward to this a lot.
Me too. So I have your answers in front of me, but just fill me in, what is it that you're really hoping to have happen in the next 3 to 6 months?
So, you know that I'm moving in a very difficult time in my life, and so I'm trying to find my way to getting back to my work. So sorry, I'm like really concentrating so that I can talk.
Oh yeah, do whatever you need to. That's fine.
Yeah, and also trying to feel into, is this the time to work?
Mm-hmm.
And I do have, some clients that organically came to me and that I'm deeply enjoying working with. And I recognize that now, as a widow and with 2 kids and a house and like all the things that that are now true as a result of Brian's death, that I need to work. I don't need to work like now. I have some padding so that I can get through this immediate time after Brian's passing. But at the same time, I want to start thinking about how I'm going to meet this time and how to do it in a good and a successful way. And I have certain limitations that are, going, okay, Kim, okay, come on. So there's kind of some, I guess, lack of clarity, of how I want to move forward. And even if I'm ready to move forward, while I'm trying to manage the kids with grief support, and I've got a couple clients, do I just go with that for a while and just be, do I, like, what homework can I do to be prepared that in 6 months I might, be ready to go, okay, I'm on and it's time? Or so you see, I'm a little like, I'm not quite sure what my next steps are. And I'm also feeling very much out to sea with, like, Brian was the money manager in our home.
Mm-hmm.
And from these, these great classes that I've been attending in the Build Your Business sessions, I've had a chance to really open up to my own story with money, and that's been enlightening and really good. And I've just been taking it, very slow and sitting with things, but it's been enlightening. But I mention it just because, like I said, Brian has been the person, and so the point person in our family. So I realize that I'm on a precipice for becoming the point person. Well, I am in that position now. So, I have to manage fire insurance in Topanga and, medical insurance, and, like, it feels like a lot. It feels like a lot.
Well, Kim, it's because it is a lot.
It is a lot.
You've been through a storm, and the storm has been on the horizon. You had the storm for many, many months. And so years. Yeah. And so with that, here it all is. And, you've got those beautiful boys. Your boys are just the best beings. And you're left with what comes next and the clarity around it in the midst of the aftermath too. That's really the part of what does the rebuild look like, and what do you really want? Not just what do you want, but what are you capable of right now? What can you handle? What's too much? What's not enough? What do your kids need? The grief, money management, all the different pieces.
Right.
There's a lot of different pieces. And what I want to say is I really honor you for being at this part where you're starting to be able to even consider yourself, because it's been about other for a really long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this then, what I'm hearing is it would be helpful to gain some clarity and to kind of come up with a game plan. I'm hearing there's a feeling side of this, and then the real practical doing side too.
Yeah.
Seeing where they meet with where you are today and with where maybe you'll be at the end of the year. Yeah. What are the most immediate needs?
That's an awesome question. And it's so interesting that I'm not really coming up with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the truth there is that there aren't immediate needs.
Mm-hmm.
There's me wanting to be prepared. And I think that's really, what's up for me, in that I signed up for Build Your Business, and I'm here having this conversation with you. I'm looking at 6 months from now, maybe, and I'm preparing, how am I going to show up in the world? So that's my immediate, I don't know if I will call it a need. I'm going to say, that's what's up in my mind. Like, okay, because ultimately I wasn't doing anything, and the people that I'm now working with just showed up on my doorstep, and I really took that as there are so many ways to say it, but like, you know, Brian saying, come on, Kimmy, you can do this. You can do this. And then I do it a little bit and I go, oh, okay, I can do this. You know, I can do this much and I can do this much. So I'm wanting to, I'm wanting to support myself and move forward in my life. Okay. And finding out what that looks like and how it feels and what that means.
Yeah. Yes. What will it mean to you to support yourself?
It will mean that I am taking the time to value myself, and that I am taking the time to value my worth and the potential of my future, and also that Brian invested his time, love, and energy into my growth as a human, and that in doing that now myself, I'm signing off on what he signed off on. Like I'm doing it with him. So, and for my kids, you know, that it means to me that I am teaching them and showing them what it looks like to walk through grief and still keep going in a good way, not just, you know, I'm going, you know, plowing through and not connecting, but like, this is what it looks like to feel grief and still move forward in life.
I'm hearing some legacy work. Legacy is what this is partly, that you and Brian started it together. You're going to be able to continue with it. Your kids will benefit from it. The work that you instill in them will be passed down to their own kids. So this is important.
It's huge.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear the weight of it as well.
Yeah.
What will it mean to you to actually feel prepared?
Well, I mean, I hope that by being prepared, I will launch. Being prepared means I will launch.
Okay.
You know?
So prepared equals launch to you.
Prepared equals launch.
Okay. So that's interesting. How do you feel about launching?
Excited.
Yeah.
And positive.
Yeah.
And especially with the work that we've done in Build Your Business, I'm like, yeah, why am I doing that? Why am I charging X for, you know, okay. So, and especially given what I have walked through and given what I have learned and what I have mastered. Okay, wait a second. This is not adding up.
Right.
You know,
yes, it's not. And I'm glad that you see that, because the worth there is, I mean, there's not even an amount for all of that worth. So what I'm hearing with this though too is that, okay, we get the clarity so that you can prepare, so that you can launch, so that you can live the legacy and give that to the kids.
And you know what else? Yes, and yes. And I have never been financially empowered personally.
Ah, okay.
And I want to live that.
Yeah.
I want to know and experience and feel what it likes to be sovereign.
Yes.
What it's like to be sovereign, you know. This is my kingdom of days.
Yes.
And I really want to live that, and I want my kids to see me do that, because I want them to know that they can too. And I know that I can. I just don't know how to get there right now.
Yeah. I hear that, and I'm here with you. I really hear that, and I feel it. Yeah. And it's okay that you don't know how to get there right now. That's what the clarity piece is for, and the preparing piece.
Yeah.
And these dreams and these goals that you have, I really want to honor them, because you're right. It is the kingdom work, and it is the part about being sovereign and being empowered and stepping into your own gifts and talents as well. And then the money flows there, the abundance.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I have a pretty good picture of what it is that you're hoping for. How are you hoping that coaching will help you?
I need a partner.
Mm-hmm.
I want a partner. I don't have a partner anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want a partner to help me vision and
Yeah.
help me see myself. I don't have a reflection right now
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
And I need a reflection to help me remember who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, for me, my coach will be able to do that with me and for me.
Yes. And to help you see where else you reflect into the world, because you reflect in those boys and their smiles and their love back to you. That's a reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess what I mean is, from the coach, is like, professionally reflect to me what you see, what's potential, what's there, where can I grow, what can I do, and
Yes.
not just where can I grow and what can I do, but who am I already?
Yeah.
You know, that I can't see right now because it's cloudy inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the clarity's coming.
Yeah.
And I really commend you, because that bravery that's there and that beautiful sparkle that you have and that you bring into everything, it's going to be so fun to see what you decide to do with it, and where God fits in for this for you too, because I know that the spiritual presence for you, I know, is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to pause here for just 1 second. I'm just going to pause and do a teaching opportunity. Thank you, Kimberly. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So class, with this, I would never start rushing it, but we only have 20 minutes left on the call. I would continue to let her empty out and to really tell me the other things. I would not ask her what's been hard in this, because it's pretty clear what's been hard is there's been a death, a significant death. So I wouldn't need to ask her that. She's told me. I'm listening. I don't even think I would ask her what will happen if you don't have this in a year from now, because she's been through enough. She doesn't need any of that sort of prompting to be committed. She's really ready to go with where she's at, but we would talk longer. But for the sake of this, I'll show you what comes next if we were at the point where I'd open it up. Okay, so we're gonna just assume that we're there. So Kimberly, I'm back.
Bye.
Thank you. So this conversation is as much for you as it is for me to make sure that coaching will be helpful to you. And I do just want to check in. What kind of support are you getting around Brian's death?
So I'm part of Our House grief support, and there's also a Palisades grief support that I'm part of, and a widowers grief support group that I'm part of.
Okay.
So if you're asking like professionally, that's what I have going.
Okay.
And I dip in to those at different times. And I'm also, deep into my music making.
Yeah.
Around processing my experience.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because, with coaching, it's all about discovery and possibility and that clarity that you're looking for. But I also can really hear the emotions in this as well. And I want to make sure that you are supported and loved and cared for in that tender way that I know that you really need.
Yeah. I don't see my coach as the person who will be offering me that.
Yeah.
I don't want that from my coach.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I
So,
want your kindness and
well, of course.
understanding and sensitivity, but like I'm not looking at coaching as grief support.
Okay. And I'm glad it's just something for us to talk about and to be really honest about, because the thing that you said earlier too about you want a partnership, and that really was loud and clear. And that's what coaching is. It's a partnership where I'm going to help you see around the blind spots. I'm going to reflect it back. I'm going to hold that space for you. It might get messy, and all of that is okay. But what I don't have is that grief support training where you might need it sometimes. And so you and I together, when we come up upon something, we might talk about that, like, hey, this is something I'm willing to listen and to help you in whatever way I can with the clarity, but it might be best served if you also talk to your group.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So
Totally.
then, no, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Totally understood and agree. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then, knowing that, what kind of questions do you have for me?
So, well, first of all, like based on everything I said, how do you see yourself as my coach?
That's such a good question. That partnership and the legacy work is so exciting to me. This vision that you have and where you're wanting to go and the growth and the exploration, I really feel like the teaming of the two of us would be a great match, but you have to feel that. You know, it really has to come from you, that your intuition, and I know you rely heavily on that, needs to be saying yes the entire way through. For me, I only work with a certain number of people each year because I have to really be on fire for what it is that they want. And with this, I can already feel like those embers. And that piece that you're wanting with the steps, the practical piece, coupling that with the emotional pieces as well and the vision piece, I can really see how together we could achieve all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And so what is it like working with you? What's your format? And you know?
Yeah. You know, I coach really intuitively. There's no set format. The format is whatever it is that you need. And so coaching is always client driven, meaning that you set the agenda. You're going to tell me what you want to talk about that day and what you want to get from the session, because it's really good for us to be able to chat. But at the end of it, I want you to walk with something that you can do and that you can try, because coaching is all about forward momentum. It's about getting you from point A to point B to point C. And then if we jump back to point A, we get back to point C. And it's really a supportive process too. The reason I limit the number of people that I coach with each year is because I want to be able to be there to offer support in between too, not just our sessions that we're going to do however many times a month we agree to, but in between support. I want to be there to hear the thing that you're struggling with when it comes up, to be able to answer your email, to take that call when you need, 15 minutes of spot coaching. It's an intimate process, and it is a partnership. And it's really, I want you to think of me as that mirror and as your thinking partner, that, wow, I'm not quite sure what to do. I wonder what Gretchen's take on this would be, but then I'm going to hold it up for you first to get what your take on it is. And then we're going to kind of talk it through and see what would serve you the best.
Okay. So I hear that you work with a limited number of people so that you can be available to all of them, and in the way that feels good for you, and that there's spot coaching that's available, and emailing that's available, and checking in that's available on this, that, or whatever it is. So it sounds like, it's not just limited to this once a week or once every 2 weeks kind of relationship, like a therapist or something.
Right.
So that feels good. And so I'm sure you don't work on a per session basis. How do you package your?
It's a great question. So with me, coaching's an experience, and you and I will decide together, how much time do you want? I know that you're talking about some things from now till the end of the year. So 6 months might be a really nice amount of time, unless you feel like you want someone to sort of travel with you longer than that. and only you know what's best for you. My intuition is saying it's probably 9 months, is that would really serve you well to create that vision, create the clarity, create the steps, and then help you to be able to do it, that you're going to need probably about that amount of time. And we'd really be working on these things that you talked about, you know, and we will go over what's most important to you in more detail. We'll look at everything first holistically, all the different buckets you have on your plate, your values, your priorities, what needs to come first. And then we kind of just check it off the list, you know, and then things pop up in between. And that's where it's like, Gretchen, I know we were working on this one thing, but today I need to work on this other thing. And we would do that. And so as far as the packaging goes, you know, I want you to check in with yourself for a minute. And what do you think as far as time goes that would serve you the best?
My instinct right away is 6 months.
6 months. Okay. Okay. So if it's 6 months, then you're probably right, because you know yourself better than I know you. So if it was a 6-month package, again, we'll really get to work on all of those things that you're wanting. And that clarity is the thing that is just ringing in my ears of what you're wanting in the plan. So through the plan and through the clarity and through the visioning, you would have all of those next steps, and then we'll just see what else comes up around it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And so how do I enroll?
Okay. So let me tell you about how many sessions you get and all of that good stuff. So in the 6-month plan, there's 18 sessions. You get 3 a month, and they're an hour long. And in between, you get unlimited spot coaching. So you just let me know if you need to jump on the phone for 15 minutes. We'll schedule everything all at once. If you need to change something, it's no problem. If I need to change something, it's no problem. But I really try to make it from the onset that we know, so that you know when you can count on having your time with me, and so that my heart's prepared for you as well, because I'm always thinking about my clients and what they might need. Also, if we do any of the business work, if that's something that you want to develop, I'll send you over some things that you can work on specifically towards the business, and we'll email back and forth. We'll have sessions about that. And we'll go over that paperwork too. And then as far as signing up, what would come next is I will talk about payment. I'd send you over a contract, the intake paperwork, and we'll schedule your first session.
So how much does it cost?
Okay. So with this class, this is where you pause the client. And so Kimberly and I already know each other, so this is not authentic at all at this point. But up until now, it's been very authentic. So Kimberly, if you were someone that I didn't know, I'd slow you down and just say, glad that you asked. Few things first. I want to make sure that you're really ready, because the truth is things are going to change in your life from coaching. So you have to be ready and truly committed in order for it to work for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she and I would talk about the cost. So with the cost, I'm going to make up a number. All right. Kimberly, it is, I'm making something up, $6,000 to work with me for 6 months. And usually I'd say tuition for this program is $6,000. You make a initial payment of $3,000, and then you can pay $500 a month for the rest of the time.
Okay. Tuition. Okay. Right. Because I'm enrolling in my life.
Yeah, and your life program.
In my life program, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I got distracted. Gretchen,
You're completely fine. Completely fine. We did what we needed to do anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Thank you. Well, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay, we'll put a bow on that. And thank you, Kimberly. Kimberly, I love you and I love your heart. Thank you for being our demo tonight. Sending you just immense love. Everyone is sending you love right now. Everyone just pause and send her love.
Thank you for giving me this time.
Yes, always, always. And if you want to schedule a real session with me, it's on me. You can email me and I'll give you a session so that we can talk. Yes, yes. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. Now let's say that she said to me, I need to think about it. I tell her, good, you should think about it, because I only want you to do it if you're 100% ready. If she said, wow, that's a lot of money, I'd say it is a lot of money. you're right. And I wouldn't want you to do it unless you were ready. If she was still thinking and it was like, I would say, you know, why don't we schedule a coaching session? Today, all we did was make sure that we were getting to know one another. Bring one of these things. Let's talk about your clarity. Let's talk about the steps, whatever the thing is that's most important to you. And let's see what we can do in an hour and a half. And then she would say yes, and we would schedule that session. And at that point, she already knows if she wants to work with me. People know on this call. But I don't do that next session as like a haha, that's where I've got you. I really do it so the client can relax into it. They don't know me yet. I know my skills and I know what I bring as a coach. They don't. Why are they going to pay me anything yet? $6,000 when all of this has just happened. She needs her $6,000. Why does she want to give me any money? So I want her to feel, I want any client I work with to feel like this is a good investment and I am in capable hands. And so that's why I give that. It's not a trick. It's not like, oh, well, one more thing and now you owe me. It really is. I want everyone that I come into contact with to feel like it is a heck yes or a heck no. And if it's a heck no, okay, no problem. Don't drop any money on me. Don't do it. I don't even want it if it's wishy-washy. So that's what the enrollment conversation looks like. Okay, Ellen, I see your question. What if they're interviewing other coaches? Oh, I want them to interview other coaches. You should interview other coaches. And I'm very confident in my skills that I am going to hear from them again. So do you want to unmute and tell me your question, Ellen? What does this mean? You never hear from them again?
Oh, so I interviewed, somebody called me the other day and I ended up spending like an hour with her doing similar to what you just did with Kimberly. I didn't do what you said about offering an hour coaching, but after this session, she's like, oh, I didn't expect this to be a coaching session. And it really wasn't. It was an exploration session. And I said, well, how else would you know? I should have, what it would be like to work with me at all. And then she asked how much, and I actually said $5,000 for 6 months. And I threw in all this other stuff, feeling very insecure about even putting the number out there. And then everyone's shaking their head. And I'll put my video on so I won't. I don't look anything like my picture.
You're great.
And so then she said she was interviewing other coaches. She had a bunch of other people she was talking to, and I never heard from her again. So I have no idea what transpired that,
okay.
Because I know she, like the session was super powerful for her.
Can I give you a couple of suggestions?
Of course. That's why I'm here.
So,
I love you, Gretchen.
I know. I adore you. I adore you, Ellen. So the first one is this. If she felt like it was a coaching session and she was just calling you on the phone, that probably felt a little bit jarring because she was calling for information. She didn't know she was going to be coached or that it was going to take as long as it takes. So when I have someone call and I happen to answer the phone and it doesn't go to voicemail while I'm coaching somebody else.
No, this was a scheduled call.
Oh, it was scheduled. Okay, I thought you said
scheduled session.
Okay,
Scheduled exploratory session.
Great. So
it
then,
wasn't out of the blue. It was like
okay,
scheduled to talk.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad I heard it wrong then. So with that, when she said I didn't know I was going to get coaching, I'd say that wasn't even coaching. That was just us that was just us exploring. Coaching's even better. And then set it up that way. And in the meantime, I want you to talk to some other coaches, see what you think. And then I'd follow up with her in an email and tell her everything that I saw that was possible, everything that's possible for her that you learned. And maybe you have something to support it. Maybe there's an article or a video or something that could go with it to really support her. And then always follow up. Before I would have gotten off the phone with her, I would have asked, okay, great. So let's put some other time on the calendar to close the loop on this and to see maybe at that time you would like that session. So always have another touch point with a client, with a potential client. Great question, Ellen. Anyone else? We're getting really close to our time. Anyone else have a comment or question? Carol.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I think a lot of people, in my experience, like to ask their husband or partner or wife.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
Oh, 100%, you should. And if your husband, partner, or wife would like to talk to me, I'm happy to do that and to give them a session.
Oh, that's great. So you
do that all the time.
Do that.
Fine. Yep.
Awesome.
All the time.
Okay.
They usually don't take me up on it. Once in a while they do, because they want their spouse to feel in with them. I'll coach your spouse for an hour. Great. Let's do it.
What's your percentage on people who say that get back to you that actually end up coaching?
Oh, almost everyone, if you're going to get back to me, we're going to coach most of the time. Maybe not right then,
Right.
but within 6 months.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very rare that if we get to the point where they are interested enough to schedule again, that there's not going to be some sort of a relationship. It's not always right then. Sometimes people have to save the money, and that's okay. Yeah. Okay, what else did you see or notice? One more comment on this. Anybody?
Me.
Yeah, Jackie.
I was really listening for you to coach, and I really see how you just didn't. How you took your time to just find out what her issues are, to acknowledge her issues and say, yeah, that really is hard. I can see where that's tough. That is something that coaching can help. And you just kind of like massaged it, and it didn't feel, it didn't feel fake. It felt like you were just really picking out all the pieces, and yeah, here's your big ball of wax.
Yeah.
And so when she was done, it's like I wanted to write and sign me up, it was like, you just kind of let her go with, well, what else would you like to learn? And it just, I could see you just help create that. You let her open it up and then create the vision of how it was almost like offering hope.
Yeah. That's right.
Really good.
Good notice, Jackie. Thank you. Michael.
Well, just to cap off what happened was you were even, you went through all the struggles and what's happening, but then I felt you were with her with your heart.
Mm.
And that was very palpable and very beautiful.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Michelle.
Hi.
You can be our closing comment. Yes.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
What are your recommendations for being patient while they're deciding? Instead of, there's that, you're so excited in that moment where you feel that connection and, we could all feel that, how palpable it was between you two. How do you as the coach not just want to jump in, in a week or a day to follow up and be like, when is this going to happen? Because you have that excitement and that momentum with it.
That's good. That's a good question. So I would have already scheduled something with her so that I'd know when I'm talking to her again. So she and I would have already scheduled a coaching session, and it would have been on me, and it would be fine. But I would have already scheduled with her. That way I know. And I'm really unattached to the results. I truly believe that when it's the right time to work with somebody, it's the right time. Does that help, Michelle? Yeah.
Yes, that's the part I have to remember, is like trusting in the path, that if this person and I are supposed to work together and this is right for them as much as me, that and me just being present, it will work. Or maybe I'm not the right fit, and let them find their person they need to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Kimberly.
Yeah.
So you would have in that moment said, let's schedule a time to talk again, Kim.
Yeah, and I would have just said to you, listen, so if you would have told me that you were on the fence, if you would have said yes, we just would have scheduled your first session.
Right.
But if you were,
yeah,
if you were on the fence or you needed to think about it, I would say you should think about it. I really want you to be ready. You've got a lot going on right now emotionally, and this is going to shake things up.
Right.
I want you to be ready. Why don't we schedule a real coaching session? So I would have done that. Yeah. Okay, so this was a great call. We could talk about this forever and ever, right? It's so good. Keep the chat going on Facebook. In the comments, write down one thing that you've learned. I would love to hear what your takeaways are. The other thing is this: in August, the first Wednesday in August, Kristen is going to be your speaker and your teacher that night, because it's my 20-year wedding anniversary and I'm going to be renewing my vows in Lake Tahoe. So I will not be here with you like this, but I hope you all pause for a minute and send me and my husband like a ton of love, because that's awesome. And it's great that we've stayed married for 20 years. I'm very proud of us. The other thing too is that, I'm really committed to serving, and I think that all of you know that. And I mean it when I say it. So if any of you would benefit from a session with me, let me know. I want you to email me, and I want you to have something really specific. It's not just like, oh, I'd like to talk to Gretchen, but you have something that you could use some clarity around or some help with, email me. Okay, and we'll schedule a time because I really am happy to do this. I want to build this community. I want you to feel nurtured. And if you have a friend that you want to bring onto these calls, they're free. Have them join this, have her join our coaching for coaches. But really, I'd love to open this up to more people because I can't tell you how many coaches I come across that say, I just signed up for a 6-month contract with this marketing coach and it's going so badly and I wish I could get out of it. And I'd love to help people to not experience that, but to really learn how to serve, because that's always where the sale is. So again, if you have anything that you could really use my help on, let me know. I'm happy to do it. And much love to all of you. It was so good to see all of you tonight. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. If you want to join that business building group, great. If not, I will see you in September. But Kristen will see you in August. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Everybody.
Take care, everyone.